Recording is on.
So for us,
okay, sorry, Kate.
Yeah, the idea of collapse really changes the idea of action and activism. And it kind of frees us up from some of the old patterns of, bash the fossil fuel loving major party and write letters to such and do this and lock onto that. And it creates more capacity. If we're all going to die, potentially horribly, in the not too distant future, including young people and children, then how do we make the most of what we have? Because many of us in the Western world, at least, are phenomenally privileged, and there's a couple called Karen Perry and Jordan Perry in the US who do a lot of collapse work, and Karen in particular talks about the benefits of collapse acceptance and that idea of gratitude and making the most of what we have while we're comfortable, while those of us that are comfortable, appreciating that it's not going to last, and that appreciation is a form of political activism, and we don't have to bash our heads against political parties that aren't going anywhere. They're just set in stone. Yeah,
I guess that's the thing. They're just irrelevant, so you just continue on and just pass them by, I guess.
But we often talked about the benefits of collapse for the natural world and for the indigenous one, whoever's left of our brothers and sisters, hunter-gatherers, because they are the people who they might be affected by it if there is a dramatic climatic shift in terms of ecosystems and biosphere for their traditional ways of living. But being that they're not depending on oil and technology and health systems and stuff like that, they are in the best position to survive. And we need to understand that maybe that will be the only humanity that will survive, which is a great thing. Because for us and in the West and in the Western way of living, and for a lot of other countries who are already in collapse, we talk about parts of Asia, we talk about parts of Africa, we're talking about Lebanon, for example. I mean, a lot of those countries are in collapse for years. It's just going, we don't realize. So I think, for example, you take the Congo, that's at war for about 45 years with cities that are just destroyed by violence and infections and all sorts of other things. You have in the Congo about 100,000 or more. I think it's nearly 500,000 people who are still hunter-gatherers in the rainforest, and those people are still totally independent and living in the forest, and they are not. They don't use schools. They still got their old religions. They're cut off from society. Those people, apart from little pockets, have not been affected by whatever's going on in the Congo. So I think it's going to happen in some countries where they are still. Well, it's going to. Who am I to say? Because if the forests are completely destroyed and the destruction of the atmosphere and the ecosystems continues, they won't stand a chance. Which is why I say that welcoming collapse, sometimes you want to say, well, let it happen fast, so that these people can have a chance.
Yes, I empathize with that too. And I love NCIV, by Deep Green Resistance. That's a classic classic film that Derek participated in. But I recognize that if energy, for example, if civilization collapse means people still need to cook food, people still need to heat their homes, that's the end of the forest. 7 billion people without the fossil fuel civilization that powers it, they immediately move out of the cities and eat all the wildlife, cut down all the trees, because what else are you going to do? Because if you don't have the behemoth of the global modern techno-industrial civilization, well, and you have to fend for yourself. That's what's going to happen, is that everything will be decimated by by humans. So unfortunately, and then you can say, oh, well, what if we annihilated ourselves in a nuclear holocaust? Well, that's on the cards. That's definitely on the cards.
Are you saying we're doomed, Tristan?
Yeah, catch-22. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, look, this has been such a great discussion. We are gonna have to go in a minute, but thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you all. So refreshing to have an intelligent, informed, critical conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. It sounds to me as though we should probably have another talk at some stage, because there's, probably a lot of good exchange that we can have. So I don't know. We get Torstein maybe to have a talk with you later on and arrange that if you're interested.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Then.
This
Well,
is
look,
just the start,
yeah.
so I hope we can exchange again. This was just an introduction, and I'm so happy to have met you. Thank you so much, Going South, for facilitating that.
Yes, thank
really,
you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Let's do this
Torstein.
again. Thank you.
And take care,
Okay.
you
Thanks.
guys.
Thanks a lot. All the best. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Lovely. Thanks.